Stuff Out, the show where I search for your answers, no matter how shocking they are. And you might be wondering why I'm walking on this red carpet. Well, it's not like I was nominated for an award or anything, but if you wanted to nominate me, that would be totally awesome. Actually, the reason I'm walking around on this carpet is because I'm trying to answer a question about a mysterious form of energy. So if my calculations are correct and I've shuffled just enough... Ouch! That was more than I expected. Must have been the shoes. Anyway, let's start off with a question. Sorry, I forgot to turn the monitor on. That's better. It's from Lucia.
Why does my hair stick to my chair?
The short answer is, it's caused by a powerful force of nature. And today, I'll find out what that powerful force is and how to use it to make the kids of today superheroes. So now I have to find out why your hair sticks to your chair. It's probably something sticky. I guess the mysterious force isn't peanut butter. This calls for an investigation. And another question. This one's from Steven.
We don't need electricity. If cavemen didn't, then they survived.
Here's an animated clip I made that should shed some light on your question. True, cavemen didn't have electricity, but they did have another form of energy, fire, which back then wasn't easy to make. They could use it to cook and dry their clothes, or even as a light to read by. And for millions of years, fire served as a cheap substitute for family entertainment. Oh no, Krog's favorite show, preempted by Weather Network. Staying warm, cooking food, and entertaining ourselves are just some of the things that we use electricity for. Now here's a question.
Why do so many things run on electricity?
From the world of physics, please welcome my special guest, Mark Nantel!
Hi.
Hi. The mysterious force. So why do so many things run on electricity?
Well, I mean, for very different reasons. In the case of light, it's just cleaner and it's more efficient and it's safer. In the case of a hand drill, you can put it in a battery and go anywhere you want. In the case of the watch, well, you know, you don't want to have to wind your watch all the time, and sometimes you forget. It's a pain. Well, the electric one works pretty much all the time for a long time. So that's why a lot of things work on electricity, essentially. And you know, Harrison, this makes light, right? It makes a lot of light and it's great, but it's not very efficient.
Yeah.
Now, this little guy is very efficient. It doesn't take hardly any electricity to light up.
Cool. Let me find a battery.
Don't worry about it. I have everything we need in this lemon. Yeah, I'll show you. We'll make a battery with lemon.
Okay.
Lemon juice can be what's called an electrolyte. An electrolyte is something that is used in batteries to carry electricity from one side of the battery to the other side of the battery. So you take a lemon, you make a little slit in it. In the slit, you put a penny, and then you put a nail on the other side. Well, what you have here is essentially a little mini battery. Now, if you want to be clever, you make several of these guys, and then you can connect them in a row. So yeah, you take one side to the penny, other side of the alligator clip goes to the nail.
Okay.
And you continue like that for a while, and the more lemons you put, the more power you get. So let's try to make it like this with a 4-lemon battery. Let's see if it works. It works! Ta-da!
So now there's a better saying. When life hands you lemons, don't make lemonade, make a battery. Now here's a question from Joshua.
How do we make electricity?
How do we make electricity? Well, Joshua, I think we already answered your question. There's a huge pile of lemons somewhere, the size of a mountain, along with some pennies and nails, right?
Well, not exactly. There are other ways to make electricity. Typically, you send something through a propeller of some kind. As it goes through, it gives electricity, and the electricity, in this case, can power the little light bulb, right? It could be wind. Sometimes you can put water and have it go down through a bunch of turbines. This is a fancy word for propellers.
Okay.
And then the propellers are connected to a generator, and at the end comes out electricity. Sometimes when you don't have water and you don't have wind, you may want to generate your own by boiling water and making steam, like really high pressure. Yep. And then you pass that through your propeller. And so, how do you make the steam? You can use nuclear power, or you can decide to burn fossil fuels like coal or petroleum or natural gas. But another way you can do power that doesn't involve steam or nuclear power or anything are some maybe more sustainable ways, using what the Earth already gives you. Something like geothermal. So the Earth is hotter inside the Earth.
Yeah.
So if you dig a hole in the Earth, it's hotter than at the top. So you can actually get some of the heat that's there in order to help you generate electricity. But also you can use the tides. So if you go at high tides, you make sure there's water somewhere, and when tide becomes lower, all the water comes back down to go to the sea, and that's when you make it go through propellers again and turbines.
So no matter how you make the turbine turn, it generates electricity.
And the other way you could do it is using solar panels. So the sun is always there, it's shining on the Earth anyway, it's wasting a lot of energy. Let's imagine this is the sun, right?
Okay.
All right, well, yeah, just imagine. And we light this up, watch it. Yay! There's your car. So we generated electricity that powered the little car just from the solar panel that's on its back.
No turbine needed.
So until we're using things that don't create pollution, how do we cut down on it?
You could use less electricity. That's the best way. So if you have lights on in the house that you don't need to have on, turn it off. You can still leave the TV on if you're watching this show, though.
Yeah. Now here's a question from Kirsten.
How does electricity travel through wires?
Imagine that a wire is this tube. Just like those marbles slide from one end of the tube to the other, when you turn a switch, all of a sudden, the electricity goes to where it's needed. If you turn off the switch, it stops. Turn on the switch, it goes.
So what are the marbles supposed to be?
Well, they're kind of an analogy to electrons.
Okay.
Electrons are little bits, the smallest bits of electricity you can find.
Cool. That was very illuminating. Thanks for being on my show, Mark.
No problem, my pleasure.
Speaking of moving electricity down a wire,
It's time for...
My Great Challenge!
So Shoshana and Olivia take your positions and get ready to compete. Woo! In real life, we have to move electricity long distances from where we make it to where we use it. So today, my great challenge is about moving electricity from one place to another. So you have to get the power from the batteries all the way up to the caveman who's holding the light bulbs, and the first one of you to get it all the way up to the caveman will be the winner.
And here's the tricky part. You have to use these wires and other stuff. But none of it is long enough to run from our batteries to our caveman's light. So you have to figure out what you can connect to the wires to carry current all the way between these streetlights and our cavemen. Here's a hint. Some of our materials are called conductors, meaning that electrons can flow through them. Others are called insulators, meaning that electrons can't flow through them.
When I touch these wires together, a buzzer will go off, and that's your signal to start. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a worm on this one.
Olivia starts with the toy worm. It's made out of rubber, so the light won't go on. Rubber does not conduct electricity. It's an insulator. Shoshana tries out the steel wool. Will it work?
Yes, I got one.
Yes! Metal is a great conductor of electricity. Electrons easily move through it. And now Olivia is doing the same. Shoshana is trying out the light stick. Uh-oh. It may light up inside, but the outside is plastic, another insulator. Olivia doesn't seem to be using anything plastic anymore. That metal wire works.
Stay.
Yep, that knitting needle is also metal.
Shoshana's catching up. They're tied now.
They're both down to their last light, and Olivia's putting the pedal to the metal with aluminum foil. Oh, the caveman's torch is lit up. We have a winner.
Olivia, congratulations.
Congratulations!
So what would you do if there was no electricity? Well, I would probably scream and run and cry.
I will use like a lemon and dime and penny to light the little light. I'd play the drums.
Yeah, I like this guy.
I just practiced my dancing.
To be honest with you, I don't really care if there's electricity or not.
I would just use a candle and just live my life. I do like Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Edison did, learn on how to do it. Or I just use my dog to tug me to school on my scooter.
I'll scream and die.
No electricity? My show wouldn't exist. That means you guys wouldn't be able to see me.
How come electric eels don't electrocute themselves?
Yeah, that's weird. How come electric eels don't electrocute themselves? Now that is mysterious. I've never thought of that before. An animal that makes electricity, shocks other things, but doesn't shock itself with electricity that it makes inside of its own body. That's shocking! You're gonna make my head explode! To find out more about electric eels, I met up with Nicole Can at the aquarium. An eel? That's not creepy enough. It has to be an electric eel. So, how do these things work anyway? Do you have to plug them in?
No, not at all. These electric eels can be found in the muddy waters of South America, and they generate electricity to stun their prey and to scare their predators, the things that want to eat them.
Okay, let me get out of here. Ugh, why would you want to eat an electric eel anyway? And how do they make electricity?
Well, on the back of their tail here, they actually have very specialized cells called electrocytes. And when they all fire at once, that's what creates the electric charge.
Okay, so to answer Jamie's question, how come they don't electrocute themselves?
The truth is, nobody knows. There's a couple of theories out there. Some people think that maybe they're immune to electricity, or maybe they just have all of their vital organs insulated from that charge.
Are they the only animals that make electricity? No, don't tell me sharks make electricity too. They're already dangerous enough with their teeth.
Okay, well, they don't actually make electricity, but they can detect it. They have special cells underneath their snouts, and all those cells do is they detect bioelectricity. So that's the electricity that any living thing makes, whether it's a fish or a person.
Wait, did you just say a person?
Yep. Dun, dun, dun.
No, my head really is going to explode. If my head's going to explode, maybe I should go see Dr. Joe Macker. He's a neuroscientist.
This is just one of Dr. Macker's friends.
So I heard that sharks can detect electrical activity in humans, and I was wondering if it's really true that we can make electricity inside of our own bodies.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And in fact, our brains can use as much electricity as a 60-watt light bulb. In fact, I can even show you that electrical activity in action in your brain right now. This is Harrison, our brain, and he's ready to be measured up.
Right.
So Chantal's measuring your head and marking the spots where the wires that we're going to attach to your head are going to go. They need to be on exactly the right spots above the right part of your brain.
People always want to pick my brain, but this is ridiculous. Are these gonna suck my brain out?
No, but they will let us see the electrical activity of your brain.
Okay. My mom always thinks I'm wired. Now I'm actually wired.
That doesn't hurt, does it, Harrison?
No, it's just really cold though.
Oh, it helps you keep a cool head.
This is what a bowl of spaghetti must feel like.
Okay.
Great, so now Chantal is going to start the electroencephalogram, or EEG.
So I'm ready.
I'm going to ask you to close your eyes now.
The first test is to check out what happens if I keep my eyes closed, and then open them.
For the next part, I'm going to place this light, which will flash at you, and you'll need to close your eyes for this. Okay, we're done.
That was really weird. It was like the lights, and I like kind of wanted to open my eyes while they were like going, but I knew I wasn't supposed to, so I didn't. And it was just really weird.
It's time to see if I'm really full of energy. Yes! Check out my brainwaves. That's electricity.
So here, this is when you had your eyes closed and everything is nice and calm. And if I just move forward a little bit.
Wow.
Yep, right there where the yellow blob is, that's when you open your eyes and suddenly there's a lot more going on.
Yeah, I really lit up.
You said you did. Okay, and here we're showing you the results of the flashing light that you had. Each of these pink spikes represents the flashing light coming on and off. And as you can see, as soon as we start flashing that light at you, the activity in your brain changes completely.
Yeah, it was really big and wavy there, and then as soon as the light came on, it was really small.
Right, exactly.
So it's true, my brain does generate electricity. But what do you use this for?
Well, we can use this to help people with epilepsy. In epilepsy, certain parts of the brain are firing when they shouldn't be. And so we can see that with this machine. And now we can even implant a device called a pacemaker into their brain, which regulates the activity so it's back to the way it should be firing.
Wow, so electricity can actually correct people's problems.
When you know what you're doing with it, yes.
Well then, maybe you can answer this question from one of our viewers.
Why don't grown-ups let kids touch electricity?
That's a very good question. In part, it's because the amount of electricity flowing within our brains is thousands of times less than what's in the wall. And also, when it's flowing from one part of our body to another, that's safe. It's dangerous when electricity comes out from outside our body and goes through us.
Yeah, that's an electric shock.
Exactly.
So remember, kids, don't play around with electricity that comes out of wall sockets, or you'll get socked with shocks. In the 16th century, we've made huge medical advances. That's why we know that if you're suffering from certain ailments, like gout, there's a simple cure. Just stick your feet in a tub of electric eels. Whoa! What a wonderful treatment! The electric shocks hurt so much I can't even think about my gout! A few hundred years ago, doctors used to think if you suffered from headaches or an illness called gout, like Henry VIII, King of England, that you could be cured by sticking your foot into a tub of electric eels. Nowadays, we know that electric eels can't cure anything, except maybe boredom. I guess that's why Dr. Macker didn't have any in his lab. But speaking of Dr. Macker in his lab, it's time for...
Uh-oh, do try this at home.
So, as I found out from Dr. Macker, your heartbeat and many other things inside of your body have electrical impulses. So to feel how that happens, place your fingers on your wrist like so. Can you feel that pulse? That's your heart pumping blood all around your body, which is controlled by tiny electrical signals. And more signals to help you keep your balance, all because of electrical impulses.
You've got electricity flowing through your whole body from cell to cell at awesome speed. You've got electricity when you're looking with your eyes, when you're smelling with your nose, when you're figuring some math, when you're wiggling your toes, when you're doing funky moves, or when you sneeze. You've got electricity. Yeah, you've got electricity flowing through your whole body from cell to cell at awesome speed. You've got electricity.
What's lightning?
What an electrifying question. I checked, and it's a lot like rubbing a balloon against the wall, except with way more electricity.
During a storm, water droplets and clouds rub together, causing friction. This friction causes electrons, which have a negative charge, to build up inside the clouds. The Earth is positively charged. In this case, opposites attract. Eventually, the attraction is too strong. And zap! There's your lightning. It's what's called static electricity. It's exactly what happens when I rub my feet on a carpet. The friction causes the negatively charged electrons to build up in my body. The electrons have nowhere to go until I put my finger close to the positively charged chair. Then bam! I get a shock, which is like a mini bolt of lightning. Which leads me back to the original question from Lisaya.
Why does my hair stick to my chair?
Big answer, Lisaya, is... the electrons! It's like a tiny version of lightning. When your hair rubs against your chair, it's picking up electrons from it.
It's the same when I'm rubbing this balloon against my sweater. This creates negative and positive charges to build up. And that force causes my balloon to stick to my sweater.
Cool, my own electric eel balloon animal. I think he likes me. Let's get this party started. How about some pointy teeth? Well, I guess that's goodbye to Mr. Eel. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. See you next time. So sad. Let the force be with you.
You've got electricity